So one great way to find related tables is to create a database diagram. I'm going to open up the VentureWorks database and then right click on Database Diagrams and say New Database Diagram. This will open a pane here, and I can select what I'll call the central table, and what this will then do is find all the tables that are related to that central table. So I'm going to pick Employee as my central table and hit Add. You can see here nothing remarkable has happened yet. It just added the employee table to our diagram. However, now if I right click and say Add Related Tables, what it does is it goes out and finds all the tables that are related to the employee table. You can see it's been going and filling in. Now they're all kind of stacked up and hard to read, so I can right click again and then say Arrange Tables. So now you can see where we have our diagram laid out, and I'm going to right click and zoom to fit just to show you what it looks like here on my screen. And then I'm going to just use the control key and mouse wheel just to kind of zoom in a little bit. So a couple of things I want to show you here. First, it'll show you where the table is related to another. So I have employee related to employee pay history. And the other thing is to pay attention to the little symbols on the relationship. So here you can see a key. The key means that this is pointing to the primary key. So chances are, it's going to be the business entity ID, and it means there's just one match on this side. When you see the little infinite sign here, it looks like a little chain link. That means there could be 0 or many on this side. And if you kind of look at the columns here, you're going to see that business entity ID is common in both, right? So these tables related through business entity ID. One business entity ID and employee will match to one or more in employee pay history. As a person gets raises, more records are going to be found in this table. So to confirm this, we can also right click on the relationship and look at the properties. And here you'll see table and column specifications. And I can find out what the primary unique base table is. So here it's employee. It's using business entity ID as the column to match to the foreign key, which is business entity ID, and here's the foreign key base. This is a one-to-many match because the business entity ID is a partial primary key on that pay history table. So there may be some tables in here where we have a one-to-one match. Let's see if I can find one. Well, right here's one with employee and person. See how there's a key on each side? I say one-to-one, but you got to be careful because really it could be one employee and 0 people. It all depends on how the data rules are set up. I would think just by looking at this, unless there's something wrong with their application, that each time you add an employee, there'd be a person, but that might not be the case. Regardless, if you do find one employee, you'll find at most one person, because the business entity ID is the primary key in person as well as an employee. So this is a really cool trick to use to find related tables. You can then extend it. I could say add related tables to person, and you can see now it's even pulling in more tables to person, and then right click and say arrange. It's still pulling them in. Getting ahead of myself here. Now I can say arrange tables, and you can see now that person's here and it's started bringing in other tables. So to do a zoom to fit,